Hi, I'm Julianne Neal, and I'm happy to be here with Shane Ledyard, the author of the Horse Gone Silent trilogy. Shane, thank you for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
So, I'm really interested in this series of books. Can you tell us a little bit about it and what prompted you to start the writing process?
Well, I tell you what started me was it was originally about a friend of mine's horse. And I had a friend, her name's Laura, and she runs a, a really big facility up north of me, maybe an hour. And I'm a horseman by trade. So I'm a professional
Mhm.
horseman. I judge and I coach and teach and everything. And they have me up to do clinics. Well, in that time, I got to know this horse and that she had, and he was a very special horse. And the girls at the barn loved him, and the one girl leased him. And I was teaching on him the one day, and when we were done, we just started talking about him, and she started telling me his history, and it literally sounded like a Disney movie. It was just a remarkable story about this animal, and he was a Dutch horse. He was close to 20 years old. We called the horse Amigo, and so anyway, the horse was terrific, and unfortunately, he passed suddenly, and it was from a really like a freak thing. It was he had got a very small splinter in his leg. This is a horse that was going to the horse shows. He was jumping around. He went to Marshall and Sterling finals. I mean, he was doing some really cool things with this kid. But he got a very like a pinhead of a splinter in his leg. His leg blew up, and it got infected, and they had to put the horse down. Well, I went up to see Laura. I'm friends with her husband. I'm friends with Laura, and I felt terrible because we had sort of bonded over the horse as I got to know him. And I went up, and it just came out of my mouth. I went up, I was giving her a hug, and we're talking. And I said, Laura, I said, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite his ending. And I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't really even given any consideration. I just said it. So I had remembered everything that she had told me. So about his history, so I went in the car and I did an outline, and I went home and I, started Googling, how to write a book. And yeah. So anyway, next thing you know, and I actually, I went along and I did like a Google voice to text, like a Google Doc. And I just talked. I went home and I outlined his whole story. And then I tried typing it, and that really didn't work. And I even thought about having a ghostwriter, and that didn't work. So finally, one day, I grabbed my phone and I went chapter 1, and I started talking. But when I started talking, I started using, it was like the horse.
Right,
So it was
right.
like a very simple, like, kind of, like as a horse I thought would talk, and, very simple, very easy. And then it just flowed. And from that point on, I had the book written in 3 months.
Mm.
So,
Well, it's obvious to me from reading it that the horse person wrote it. So I'm glad to know of your background. And it honestly, I was a reader as a child, and so my first thought, chapter 1, is Black Beauty.
okay.
And I don't know if there's ever been another comparison like that. Not that it's the
Yeah,
same story or anything like that,
sure.
but just that from the horse's perspective. So
Yes.
it's a special little story. It really
Thank
is.
you.
And I wondered if it was from a real horse. And so that's interesting.
Yes.
What's been the most rewarding part of the project for you?
Uh, well, because it touches people. And I never thought in a million years, it wasn't what I was thinking when I set out, because I wrote Horse Gone Silent itself, not the rest of the trilogy, but Horse Gone Silent was written in 2016.
Mhm.
And just the reactions I get, the people that say, but what it was, that it was inspirational to them, and, how it encouraged them. And, so, cause that's really what I wanted to do. I was trying to encourage my friend when I wrote it, make it feel
Mhm.
better. Cause I rewrote the ending, right, to his life. And um, that was the whole purpose. But then when people started giving me all this, like, oh my gosh, the story really touched me, it encouraged me. That's been the best part. And then now it's changed my life. I mean, I wrote the book. I wrote the book, and then just follow the steps, as if any of the people watching right now are just, never written a book, or they've done, published their own self-published. Amazon's pretty straightforward. You go on KDP and it's like, hey, dum dum, press this button, press this button, press this button. So I just followed the steps. And then the next thing you know, I had books for sale for $8.99 on Amazon. And I thought, well, okay, whatever. And then, so you check the sales, in about a week. And I guess because of the name of the book, horse, and then people searched it up. Next thing you know, I'm selling the book. And next thing you know, I'm getting reviews. And I'm like, oh no. Because I knew when I wrote it, it was good, but it wasn't like perfect. I didn't hire a professional editor. So then, and I got early on, I got a couple of digs, and I was like, well, I can't have that with my name, my brand. So I went back, I hired a pro, and we re-edited it. And it's been through like 4 or 5 edits since then. And then, and then it started exploding, and I started getting a ton of sales, and it started doing great. And then that led me to write Sycamore Whispers.
That's really incredible. Well, I have to ask real quickly, do you have any other stories in the brain getting ready to send them out? Will there be more than just the trilogy?
Yes, there definitely will be more than just a trilogy. So I've been getting tugged a little bit, just following my own sort of instinct to go off the horse path, to do something different. And I've got a story in my mind, but I have, on my desk here, 7 or 8 stories that are all good, strong possibilities. And I will start writing probably next month now. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you definitely have a voice for it. And so we'll look forward to seeing what comes next. If folks wanted to find out more about you and about the trilogy and everything else, besides going to Amazon, where could they find you online?
They can go to horsegonesilent.com. Yep, it's right there. And then, I've got, the feeds, Horse Gone Silent on Instagram, Horse Gone Silent on Facebook. But, if you go online to horsegonesilent.com, you can sort of get some background, and it's easy to access, purchasing all the books through Amazon.
Wonderful. Well, we're so happy to have you here with the film festival. And I think it also might make a great film someday. So keep that in mind too.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll look forward to more from you.
Sounds good. Thank you.